We have more news out of Vancouver today. It's not only the coaching staffs that have been relieved of their duties, GM Jim Benning has been fired as well. We'll discuss what this means for the team and who's taking over coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some more breaking news out of Vancouver. As first reported by Vancouver local media, Rick Dhaliwal and Irfan Ghaffar, we have more news that the Travis Green firing that happened and it was announced earlier by NHL insiders is not the only big news out of the Canucks organization. GM Jim Benning is also fired and finally removed from his post. The fans have been calling for it for quite some time after an absolutely disastrous start. And as I said before in my previous video talking about the Travis Green dismissal, I really feel that Green's a decent coach, dealt a bad hand in Vancouver. Could he have done better? Of course he could have, but at the same time, I don't think this roster is where it needs to be, and that's on the general manager. The GM has been in his post now for just close to 8 years, 7.5 years. He's been there in Vancouver. They've been basically going through a rebuild the entire time. The last year or two, you could say they're coming out of the rebuild. They've saw moderate levels of success, nothing too substantial, and now they have a major setback this year. They've mismanaged the cap, in my opinion. They've spent poorly on bottom six forwards. Louis Eriksson was another one that comes to mind, another bad contract. Just all kinds of mismanagement, in my opinion, given the situation and how long they've been, at the bottom of the standings, missing playoffs. I'm surprised he was given as long as he was. A lot of other GMs and other teams and franchises would not have been nearly as patient as the Canucks were. So how things are going to work here is actually Benning's not the only one dismissed. One of his assistants, John Weisbrod's also been dismissed with him. The remaining staff, essentially, which would consist of like Ryan Johnson, Chris Gear, Stan Smeal, and the Sedins, will be working collaboratively together on an interim basis. I would imagine they'll determine a new permanent GM here in the very near future. Hard to say exactly. Of course, none of this has been announced by the Canucks as a franchise just yet. This has all been local media and NHL insiders kind of digging up the dirt here and getting the scoop before the Canucks make anything official. So we know that with the disastrous start, fans have been calling for this, and it's not a shocker at all. Earlier when the information came out about Green, I was surprised Benning wasn't included. And as I mentioned in that video, I was like, I can't imagine a GM who's on thin ice being allowed to hire another new coach. So to me, it didn't make a lot of sense that there wasn't, all the GM and coach being let go, but just the information hadn't been discovered yet. The word is that ownership is the one who hired Boudreau to replace Green and not Jim Benning. So that was an ownership decision, and we'll see how long they ride things out with the interim setup. We'll have to get more info as it breaks and as it becomes available. But for those of you that are Canucks fans have been calling for Jim Benning to be removed as GM, you get your wish here today. Hopefully they can get things turned around. I know Bruce Boudreau is a very offensively minded coach, so I would imagine the top offensive players theoretically should flourish under him. He's also adding Scott Walker to his staff as well. Of course, Walker and Boudreau know each other well. Walker played under Boudreau as a player. They worked together. They were both slated to become part of Team Canada's coaching staff for the Spengler Cup as well. But if they're both going to Vancouver, then obviously that's not going to be a possibility. So to me, I think that's a good fit theoretically. We'll see how things work out. More concerned and curious about how the management stuff works out as well. So let me know your thoughts on Jim Benning finally being fired as GM of the Canucks. Can they move forward, and what comes next for this franchise that have been having a disastrous start this year? Is the season lost? Is it too late? Or how can they save this year? Is it even possible? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest news, rumors, and analysis on all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.